So I keep having a look inside the forests that line the track, the trail, whatever you want to call it, the forestry track. That's interesting, isn't it? You've got three parallel sticks there. We're back to stickery again, and I think we ignore it. We haven't on this channel. I'm afraid I haven't ignored it. I have gone at length about it because I believe it's significant. Look at that. Filigree work, pointless stick. It's about just over a yard long. Let's follow it down to the ground. It's just sticking in the ground. Doesn't grow there. You don't have the thin end growing in the ground and the fat end growing up here that's been snapped off. And yeah, look how close to the track we are here, right beside it. Any shapes anyone recognises there? It's a very well worn trail, this. Very well worn indeed. Well, we saw a similar shape to that in reverse at the other place. Do you think that's coincidental shape? What's over there? Okay, got to be careful of this tree. I've just stood in a hollow area of a tree and nearly went down to my knees. You know, where the roots have given over. And look, a pyramid trident. 1, 2 layer leaning towards the right, creating a little pyramid there. Wowza. Wowza, have we got any more? Careful not to walk in these because I think they have their own energy. Look at that. Again, the bark is stripped, bent at a low level, nothing else fallen across it that can bring it down. Nothing at all. But yet it's bent about 4 inches off the ground. Oh look, again, more energy. It's bizarre. It's very bizarre. I think this is all to lead us in, so we all start to see it. We've seen it. The Australian guys, they've seen it. I'm not sure. People in the States, you talk about glyphs. You definitely talk about glyphs. But seeing this hung about, wow. That's my foot there. I'm just looking at that. If I didn't know better, I would say they were toe-shaped. Do I see any more? No. And this is something that I've seen so often. Single footprints. I mean, what do people do? Do they hop? Just one footprint. And I believe that it's just to draw our attention. I'm going to show you something else here as well. All right. Look at that. There's another one there. I'm going to start turning around here. And we're in a circle. We are in a perfect circle. Another one here. Going to do a full 360. Back to where we started. So I think they want us to notice this with the trees and with the stickery, the glyphs. They want us to notice them. The Aussies have, we have. Everybody needs to try and stick to the same page. Wow, this is just bizarre. Just before, I was drawn to this area, clearly drawn to this area, because one of these trees, that is bloody bizarre. Excuse my very elegant French. That is just bizarre. One of these trees are now standing over here, and I started to make my way through the trees because I saw one of these trees had a band, like a light band right around it. An area, say, from here to here at about that height. And I actually think it was that tree. But it's bizarre. That's just ridiculous. It's not there. It's not there anymore. I have to go back to where I was. Oh, pointless stick. Oh. Right, I've just asked a Fenian. I've just said, can you help me on that? Because I know what I saw. And I don't see it now. Where's that footprint? It's over here. I was looking over in... Here's my footprint. I was looking over in that direction. Well, that's bizarre. It was bright, like... almost like there was a light shining on it. Well, you can see how much light there is in this forest. So what was I being drawn to? So what a Fenian is just saying to me, it was so that we would be drawn to this area, drawn over there. So it would be drawn in that direction. It says, and you'll remember it because it's going to be useful in the future. Okay, right. I'm on my way out of that little area. Again, remember the filigree work I showed you before? Here it is. So we'll go on to our other area where we've gifted, which is over there if the footpath allows us. So I'm asking a Fenian at what point some of this stickery, the information that we see, at what point it will be of use to us. And I'm getting the sense that all will be revealed in good time. Oh dear. I can remember my parents saying that all good things come to those who wait. Wrong answer. Now, if you remember on a conversation with a back a couple of years ago, and I asked about how their year runs. We go from January to December. I believe they go from April to the end of March. I suspect they go through lunar months or mark time by lunar passages and mark time with what goes on in the constellations. Hence, we often see shapes in the forest which relate to constellations. We've seen Gemini, we've seen Taurus, we've seen all sorts. Obviously, the Orion, which guides us. Orion is the constellation that guides planet Earth. Now, I'm not sure how right I am on that, because I'm wondering if, let me think, if the southern hemisphere, they might be governed by a different constellation. Okay, so Athenia is saying no, we're all governed by Orion. This planet is governed by Orion. It's our strongest influence. That's interesting. Well, I'm surprised. I expected there to be more trees down along here. Now, I suspect if I go to the old site of Moonmoth, that will be totally inaccessible. Totally. But all I'm doing here is I'm just coming to check to see if A, everything is accessible, and B, if there's any changes with us being literally, say, I don't know whether they choose the start of April as their lunar new year, or whether they go by the first sight of the new moon. Right, so I'm hearing that it's the first sight of the new moon, and that's their new year. So whenever the new moon is in April, is that movable? Can that move to the end of March? Yes, they don't have the same framework of months that we do, so the answer is yes. So if the new moon appears at what we call March, the end of March, then that will be when it changes, when their new year comes in. Another question I would ask is, we go by years. 2024 is where we're at now. Right, so she's saying we don't go by year dates. It's connected to a period of time when Pluto is here, or when Saturn is here, or... That's interesting. She said, think of the Chinese New Year, so they would have the year of a dragon type of thing. So do you name your years after animals? Cycles after an animal? We do. We do. So how... Is that just within your family groups? Right, so she's saying in the United States of America, for an example, they might have the year of the beaver, a year with beaver energy, let's say, or a year with squirrel energy, whatever. Okay, is it an animal energy? Yes, sometimes plant, sometimes tree. There we go. But it would be a different year, say, in the UK. It'd be a different year in Europe because of the way the communication works, and it would be pointless having the year of a bear for those that live here, because we don't have bears. Well, I frequently tell people that there's bears in the wood there. Bears. The bears will get you. Yes. Right, let's see what's going on here. Enough foolery. That's new. That tree That tree is down. Quite a sizable chunk of tree. That's a new break. You can see by how clean it is over there. That's a new break going on. Oh, look at this. So follow that. Broken about a foot off the ground, you can see. And let's go up here and see where it meets. I think they're both the same tree. It might just be the way they've smashed. Tree. Ah, now that belongs there. That's growing in the ground. Look at that. You can see it's growing in the ground. Okay. But this is a pointless stick. Sizable compared to usual. It's about twice width of my finger. Pointless stickery. Off we go. Usually come in on the other side, so I'll go out on the other side. Actually, it's early afternoon. It's about 2:30, 2:45 today. See any patterns here? See any patternry? Remember, on old electric circuit boards, and you would see wires bent over like that. Well, these trees, same thing. But this is when they tell us it's communications area. Another fresh tree down there. Could be here all day talking about fresh trees down. Would of course go into a point there, wouldn't they? Now, are you starting to see some? Let me see if I can get around this. Two more low-level breaks, a foot off the ground, about 35 centimetres off the ground. Now let's look at what's behind them. See the triangle shape, the pyramid shape? That must be about 30 feet off the ground. So let's look across to the right here. See all this nonsense here? Follow those up. You've got 3 trees, all with convenient breaks, all going up, meeting at a pyramid at the top. And then let's look at this side. You can see this here. Follow that. Follow it up. Completely natural, of course. Not, she says. So we're right in amongst it here. Sorry if there's a little bit of shake on the camera. I on my left hand it's not so bad, but my right hand I've got a little tremor. How weird. See anything? Do you see anything that might have any uniformity in it? Okay, we'll start with these here. See, they come to what almost looks like an arrow shape. Now let's follow it, follow it, follow it. See the 2 trees together. I'll try and zoom in. 2 trees together there. Now let's move across to our left. There's that one there. See that? 2 parallel together. And they're completely parallel. If you look at them, they are parallel. And in fact, there's another one freshly broken beside it. So you've got 1, then 2, and then 3. Geometry within nature. Well, I'm going to walk through the pyramid, so I might actually be turning into a white mouse. Nope, still a human being, I think. Oh, there's so many clean breaks here, new breaks. So I've spoken about this before, where I firmly believe that a lot of the stuff that we see isn't always here. It's like a backdrop that is created for us. And it sounds like the weirdest thing on the planet to say. Until you experience it and experience this happening, there's no other explanation. So I'm just going to do a little bit of sweeping around here. So dead center is where that pyramid thing is. Then we've got some more stickery there. When I say stickery, these are trees. They're not just little sticks. Then we've got this. Now, I've not seen this before. This is new. Okay. And that attaches to this. This is new. So what Athenian is telling me is that the energy of the planet is changing. Is that because of man? She's saying yes. So they are countering it. Now, how this works, I do not know. All right. So I'm now going to swing to my right, 90 degrees. And we have this. Okay. And again, I'm going to go full circle. Oops. We've got these. These are about 2 feet breaks. So they're 2 feet off the ground, 70 centimeters if you're European. And again there. Now, would you say that all of this is natural, given we've just seen that? We're still swinging round in a circle. Seen this. And then we've got this going on here. Another sort of like an arrowhead shape again. Now we are familiar with this. I'm trying to avoid all these pointless sticks that seem to be in the ground. We are familiar with this. We usually see it from the other side. And I'll go around the other side and just remind you of that in a bit. But I'm still in the circle here. Why do I feel as if I'm being watched? It's a bizarre feeling. It really is a bizarre feeling. It feels as though people are watching me, trying to work out what I'm going to make of this. So another sort of circular type of area where so much is going on. So there is a fence here where the Forestry Commission have obviously, these are much younger trees through here. You can see how spindly they are in comparison to the trees here, which are older. So they've put a fence here. And we have one second parallel and third parallel. 3 parallels again. Oh, I lie. Here's the 4th. All parallel, all going in that direction. So north is that way. That's west. That is west. All pointing westward. Okay. I've stopped showing you pointer stickery because we'd be here all day, but when you see leaners like this, little short leaners, conveniently leaning against a tree, turn round. Does any of that look natural? Any of it? We've seen this one before quite a bit. It's just an irrigation gully for the trees. I'm glad I came this way because usually I'm up and down those like I don't know what. It's a great workout, but tiresome. Now this looks like an unholy mess, but I'm not entirely sure it is. I'll keep going. So we are seeing changes. There's lots of changes. It's very peaceful energy in here. It doesn't feel strange. I feel as if I've got a crowd following me. You know, if you were to do an examination of some kind, and somebody was there with a clipboard taking notes, that's what this feels like. That's what the energy feels like. That they're sort of taking notes. Seeing, I guess, our level of observance. People talk about downloads. They get downloads. I get downloads. And I would go as far as to say on a nightly basis. Pretty much on a nightly basis. Some are stronger than others, but certainly on a nightly basis. They may just have fallen casually, but there is an order to them, isn't there? So I'm wondering if what they're checking here is if the downloads that I have received, if I'm able to access them, and the information, some information that is within them, if I'm able to apply it. Nothing is coincidental. Nothing is happenstance. I really believe that every direction that we are pointed in, or we choose, we have an inclination to go this way, or to go that way, or to go the other way. It's a deliberate nudging. Sorry, I'm having to straddle this wire. It's a deliberate nudge in a particular direction. So I think that we sometimes think that everything is happenstance. Oh, what a lucky break. What an occurrence. And I don't think that's the case. I just don't. That will be heading south. We have seen these before, but they are very ordered, aren't they? Very ordered. So let me try and go. I'm going to skirt around them. Now, you might have some ideas on these, and I wonder whether we should be looking, I'm going to say, certainly looking at Futhark, a mixture of Futhark, and the constellations. So these trajectories, planetary trajectories, this is something to do with directions, might be directing energy that we need to be observing. this is just not by accident. Now, we've seen a similar version of that. Because it might not be about the pattern. Remember, I did a video months and months ago, about 18 months ago now, and I did a video where I had made the shapes of all the constellations, and I had it in a black box, and we shone lights. I shone lights into it, and it showed shadows. And I believe that a lot of the stuff that we see, the three-dimensional stuff that we see, three-dimensional pattern, is really, it's all about the shadows it cast on the ground. Now, this is where we have given before. I have to pick all these up now. Here, see that? You can see my red nets. I'll take all these back home with me. Wow, that's interesting. I do believe that's new. Look at that. One arch this way. Tiny little arch, nonetheless. Within that. That's new. That was not here. Okay. Giant tweezers. Right, the energy here is actually very, very strong. It's actually making me feel quite nauseous because we are in a sort of a pocket. This is going downhill. There's a stream there. It's downhill. I have to stop for a bit. It really makes me feel nauseous when you get this very heavy energy. How natural do you think these are? Do you believe they're natural? How natural do you think they are? Do you believe they're natural? I mean, you may think this is perfectly natural for trees to fall in this shape. And if you do, good on you. Stick with it, mate. Stick with it. Majority of people would just come into this forest, if they even deigned to walk through this forest, because a lot of people just won't walk through them. They walk on the paths, they walk on the tracks, but they would just think, oh, just a few trees down. They won't even notice the patterning. So if you are in the forest, just have a look. Just see what you see. See if you see the patterning. Right. Okay. We're on the road again. That's old. You can see the moss growing on it. Quite glad to leave that little area for now because, wow, the energy is powerful there. It makes you feel nauseous, very dizzy. Imagine if you had been on a fairground ride, spinning round, and you've just come off. It's like that feeling after you've just come off it. That's what it feels like. So if you get it, now Fenian and Ahochida both gave me pointers. They said you could use a lump of granite underneath your tongue, and that, so just a granite chipping. If you have azurite, keep it in your pocket. That also balances the energy. And of course, I forget every time to bring it with me because it doesn't hit me every time. Natural people, natural breakages. Oh, this is a really busy area. This side here. How many times do we see this shape? How many times? Let me get closer to it. Upside down V and then an angle. It's almost replicated hundreds of times, and I've shown you these areas before now where it doesn't matter where you turn round, where you look, there are these trees broken in this shape. And I don't believe that it's natural at all to draw our attention saying, hey, look at us, what do you make of us? See? If it wasn't the case, why would we see the same patterning? It's another one. So I'm standing here, there, there, oh, there, there. Let me zoom in on that one. Zoom back out again. There. So really, I'm just going to leave it here because there hasn't been too much damage in here, but there's certainly been changes, additions, adaptations of the stuff that's in the forest here. This stuff, it's all around. Let me show you. Look at this. That's what's behind me. See all the low breaks? And that's throughout the whole of this forest. So this is just a little corner where we've come to visit before and gift before. I'm glad it's managed to survive. The track hasn't, but hey, we'll get over that. So I'll see you again. Like I say, this is going to be in 2 parts, so you'll have seen the other part first. And we're on to this. The videos are not too long at the moment. I'm keeping them down to a shorter level because I don't want to bore you all. But, okay, have a lovely, lovely day. Have a lovely week. See you again. Bye.